The complete story of the Crusades, 1096 to 1291. History is filled with wars that shaped the destiny of nations. Among them, one of the most brutal and long-lasting conflicts was the Crusades, a series of religious wars fought between Christians of Europe and Muslims of the Middle East. These wars stretched for almost 2 centuries, leaving deep marks on both East and West. Why did the Crusades begin? By the late 11th century, Jerusalem, the holy city for Christians, was under the control of the Seljuk Turks. At the same time, the Byzantine Empire was weakening under Turkish pressure. In 1095, at the Council of Clermont, Pope Urban II gave a fiery speech, calling upon all Christians to take up arms and free the Holy Land. He promised that anyone who joined the crusade would have their sins forgiven. This message spread across Europe like wildfire. People stitched the symbol of the cross on their clothes and marched eastwards. That is why these wars are called the Crusades. The causes were not just religious zeal and the desire to reclaim Jerusalem, the Pope's ambition to increase the power of the Church, a call to help the Byzantine Empire, economic motives, wealth, trade, and land, and the search for glory, honor, and eternal salvation. In total, there were 8 major crusades fought between 1096 and 1291. The First Crusade, 1096-1099. The first wave, led by poor peasants under Peter the Hermit, collapsed due to hunger and disease, but the prince's armies marched successfully. They won victories at Nicaea and Dorylaeum, captured Antioch, and finally, in 1099, they seized Jerusalem after a brutal massacre. The Kingdom of Jerusalem was established, along with other Crusader states in Antioch, Edessa, and Tripoli. Outcome: Christian victory. The Second Crusade, 1147-1149, when Muslims recaptured Edessa, European kings launched the Second Crusade. But they failed at Antioch and Damascus. Outcome: Muslim victory. The Third Crusade, 1189-1192. In 1187, Saladin, the great Muslim leader, defeated the Crusaders at Hattin and took back Jerusalem. In response, 3 great European monarchs marched: Frederick Barbarossa, Philip II of France, and Richard the Lionheart of England. Despite victories on the coast, they failed to retake Jerusalem. The outcome? Muslim strength preserved. The Fourth Crusade, 1202-1204. Instead of Jerusalem, Crusaders attacked Constantinople, the capital of the Byzantine Empire, and looted it savagely. An outcome: no success in the Holy Land. The Fifth Crusade, 1217-1221. The Crusaders tried to capture Egypt, hoping to pressure Muslims, but they were trapped by the Nile and surrendered. Outcome: Muslim victory. The Sixth Crusade, 1228-1229, German Emperor Frederick II. Satans negotiated peacefully and gained temporary control over Jerusalem without much fighting, but this control lasted only a short time. Outcome: temporary Christian success. The Seventh Crusade, 1248-1254, led by King Louis IX of France, the Crusaders invaded Egypt again, but they were crushed, and Louis himself was captured. Outcome: Muslim victory. The Eighth Crusade, 1270. Once again, King Louis IX launched a crusade, this time in Tunisia. But disease and hardships destroyed the army, and Louis himself died there. Outcome: failure of the Crusaders. The final end, 1291. Although the Crusaders had early victories, Muslim power steadily grew stronger. Finally, in 1291, the Muslims captured the last Crusader stronghold, Acre. With this, the Crusaders were permanently expelled from the Holy Land. Legacy of the Crusades. The Crusades left lasting impacts on both East and West. Europe gained new knowledge, trade routes, and military techniques. In the Muslim world, leaders like Saladin rose as symbols of courage and honor. But millions died, and religious hatred deepened between Christians, Muslims, and Jews. The Crusades were not just about religion. They were about power, wealth, and survival. Conclusion. The story of the Crusades is not merely about swords and castles, but about faith, ambition, greed, and destiny. At first, the Crusaders tasted victory, but in the end, the Muslims emerged triumphant. The Crusades remind us that wars, fought in the name of religion, often leave behind centuries of pain, but also powerful lessons for the future.